Okay, now for the Frank Ifield EPs. These EPs aren't necessarily in order either. I should probably check up when these came out, but I've tried to put them roughly in order. Anyway, here's Lucky Devil, his very first EP, with his very first single on. This is quite a rare EP actually. In nice condition, apart from some initials in the top right corner. But apart from that, it's in very nice condition. Advertises his two albums and his some other EPs. And this is on the black and blue Columbia label. Recorded first published in 1960. I suspect this could be a slightly later copy of the EP, because I would expect EPs released in 1960 to have been on the green Columbia label rather than the black and blue one. Okay, now here is Frank Ifield's Hits EP, which I would say is probably his most common one. However, here I've actually got 3 different versions of the same EP, and although every time I bought a copy of this EP I didn't know there were different versions, that's something I've only discovered recently. 2 copies I got out of different job lots of Frank Ifield EPs, and 1 copy I bought when I didn't have a copy. But here's the earliest one. You can tell it's got an earlier cover than the ones I'll show you in a minute, because recording first published in 1962 is above the text here, whereas on later releases it will be below the text, as you'll see soon. And this is on the black and blue Columbia label. There you go. Pretty ordinary. However, the next version has a few subtle differences, as I'll show you now. First of all though, I'd just like to point out here, it's actually got a nice little sticker on the back. Smiles for Records from Belfast. So this one's come all the way from Northern Ireland. It's got some writing on as well, but that doesn't matter. Now, oh yes, I'll show you. The recording first published in 1962, is now below the text rather than above the text. And another curious difference is, if you look at the label, it's got a few extra things on it. Like, it's now got recording first published in 1962, which wasn't on the previous release, but it's on this one. So that on the cover show you this is a slightly later copy. However, it's this third different version here, which really has the most obvious difference. Again, it's got the recording first published in 1963 on the back. Sorry, 1962. I keep saying 1963. However, the label, as well as having the recording first published in 1962, now also has the sold in the UK text across the centre. So I'm guessing this is more of like a late 63, early 64 pressing of the EP. Something like that. But it's got sold in UK on now anyway. Which the 2 previous releases didn't. And the original release didn't even have recording first published 1962 on the label. So there you are, 3 different versions of that. Now for more of Frank Ifield's hits, which is the name of the EP. This has got another 4 of his best songs on. The Wayward Wind, which was a number 1. Nobody's Darling But Mine, which was another big hit. And those are the 2 B-sides for those records. And there's the back, which has, funnily enough, another Smiles for Records sticker. That one and the copy of Frank Ifield's hits I've shown will have come from the same job lot, because, like I said, I did get a few job lots of these EPs, and I think there'll be a few more with these stickers on as we go through the collection. But I'll show you the label, which of course is just the black and blue Columbia label. Note there's no sold in UK text on though, so this EP, or this copy of the EP came out before the latest copy of that previous EP I've just shown there, because it doesn't have any sold in UK. And here's another copy of more Frank Ifield's hits, this time without the sticker on the back. And here's that, which is pretty much the same. It doesn't have sold in UK text on. His KT tax code there. But yeah, it's amazing how many different variations you can get on even this type of EP, you know. Now this is another of these slightly rarer EPs. Funny how time slips away. Now this is more just like EP tracks rather than singles and hits, you know. And I'll show you the back. There it is. Most of these are pretty clean actually, so that's good. Made by Buckland printers rather than Garrett Lofthouse, which you can see on a few 60s EPs. And you may have noticed by the date there that we're now in 1965, which is when this was released. So UK text there, of course. Yeah, that's an EP you don't see too often. This is Blue Skies, Frank Ifield. I think this is one of his best EPs which doesn't consist of singles or hits. 4 exclusive tracks, but they are very good. Particularly the title track, I think. Probably my favourite on this EP. And also on the label with Slow UK text. Yeah, it's very clean on the back of this EP. Just One More Chance, Frank Ifield. Here we go. Nice blue sleeve design. This one's made by Burr Print at the bottom there. I think this is a slightly earlier EP because it doesn't have Slow UK text on. It does have a nice MKT tax code though. Now on to a similar looking EP actually, although it's not the same EP. Viva Ifield, where he does some French tracks. Here we go. There's some pictures on the back there of Frank Ifield and some other people. Also made by Burr Print. There we go. Viva Ifield. And I've got 2 copies of that EP actually. Again, one will just come out of a job lot. But it's always worth getting duplicate copies of ones if it means you can get ones you don't have. Because you can always just spot differences, you know, which is something I like to do. Burr Print again. And of course but the label's the same. This one just has a MKT tax code on both copies of this one, although the label's in not as good condition on this copy. It's had some spindle wear. Coming up next is another Frank Ifield's best EPs, Confessin', which has some of his singles on. We've got Confessin', which is the big hit from the EP. Hobie Snow, which is quite a good B-side actually. Waltzing Matilda, and a pretty good version of Unchained Melody. You know, I've heard better, but it's alright. Garrett Lofthouse here. And Columbia label. It's got a nice stick on there, 10 and 9. So that could be like 10 shillings and 9 pence or something. I don't know. And here's a nicer copy of the EP. Whiter, anyway, you know, the colours are much nicer. And this also came from that job that I was telling you about, Smythe Records. And there's the label. Same as the last one. But yeah, again, probably one of his better EPs. Not that he's got any bad EPs, you know, but some, you know, certainly better than others. Now, Born Free, which of course is the EP from his album Born Free. Just 4 tracks from the album, I think. And there's apart from that bend in the corner, is in nice condition. Going left out sleeve, and this one is black and blue label with a Soul UK text. There you go. Now onto an EP which has exactly the same cover design, except it's called something else. Please. And I think this is just another 4 tracks from the EP, I think. Sorry, from the LP. Burpend. Slightly late there. Sorry, slightly earlier EP here with No Soul in UK. And last but not least, second of last, is Frank Ifield Sings. Again, this is probably one of his rarest EPs. The main song I know from this one is "All Lonesome Me," and I do know "Summer Is Over" and "True Love Ways." Can't remember how "I've Got a Hole in My Pocket" goes, but that's just a B-side to "All Lonesome Me." Yeah, pretty good EP. Nice copy. Gowden Loft House, November 1964. With, of course, the Sold in UK text. I know that's all I've been going on about this pretty much this whole video, you know, but there isn't that much else to talk about, to be honest, with these EPs. And now, last but not least, is another rare EP, Love Walked In, Frank Ifield. I have to say, of all these EPs, I think that this one definitely has the best cover, you know, just the bright orange is really great. And there's the tracks. I've only heard this EP once or twice, so I can't particularly remember how some of these songs go. But still, I'm happy to have it. This is quite a late EP for him. 6509 September 65. And this was Howard's Printers, which isn't a printer I see too often on EPs actually. And as usual, that label, it's Soul UK. There are still about 3 or 4 EPs I need to complete the set, but most of them are really rare, you know, so I'm still on the lookout for those. Okay everyone, thanks for watching. I know this might not have been the most fascinating video I've done, but you know, I just thought I might as well do it. And again, I'd really appreciate it if you spared a few moments to check out my friend's channel. Again, I've left a link in the description.